ready.
They say they need to ban the podcast equipment and take y'all mics away. And oftentimes when I listen, shit, I agree.
For real talk.
Hey, man, just because we know people don't mean that they know things. A lot of us was in the same classes with some of these folks. That don't mean they were passing these classes.
All the time.
It ain't the world leaving you behind, man. It's your line of thinking. You think the science stopped evolving because you stopped learning, and it don't work that way. I couldn't imagine voting for somebody who thinks identifying with me is identifying with a felon. That's crazy as hell. I'm Mrs. Spann, and I'm approving these messages. This is the Mrs. Spann Official Podcast. Let's go. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Mr. Spann Official Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Spann, and this is episode number 63 of this show. And yeah, man, it's been a couple weeks since the last time I talked to y'all, man. I've been real busy with the job and shit. I went to work on the weekend last weekend, y'all. And I've been giving up that narcotic, man. I swear to God, I've been giving up that narcotic. But I tell you, man, when they offered the kind of money that they was offering your man Spann to be in there on the weekend, you know, I'm just come on, man. Nigga! There was no way I was turning it down. So as much as I would like to have been here with you guys, man, I had to go where the money was. And so that's what I did, man. I went to work last weekend, and that's part of the reason why you guys didn't get a show last weekend, right? But I am at this particular point off right now until check this out, y'all. January motherfucking 6th, y'all. Yeah, man. So I've had a lot of time on my hands, man. I've been getting a lot of shit done here around my crib, man. Some of the things that I've been wanting to kind of get to, but haven't had time to get to. So, like, you know, this time away from the gig is definitely going to help me not only just do that, but also just some of the stuff that I want to do for the podcast next year. I'm trying to, put some ducks in a row for that stuff next year and everything. And, trying to set up 2025 to get, hit the ground running and everything else, man, for everything that I want going on in my life, as far as the podcast, as far as my life, as far as home and work, everything. I'm using these 2 weeks to strategize and shit, right? So we got that going on. But of course, before we get into this show, I got to remind you guys how to get in touch with us over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and let your voice be heard. You can go ahead and hit up that hotline at area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Leave us those voicemail messages. Those messages will get played here live on the show and responded to in kind. And if you're watching us here live on YouTube and or Facebook, go ahead and hit up that number while we're doing the show. That's area code 313-288-0485 and chop it up with your man Spann while we're here talking our shit, right? Also, man, hit me up on Threads and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So go ahead, follow me there, chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. I am also on Blue Sky, so you can follow me on Blue Sky at mrspann.bsky.social. That's MRSPANN on Blue Sky. And chop it up with your man Spann over there as well, man. I've been trying to use both of those sites equally lately. I've got this new app on my phone called Open Vibe. That's what it's called, Open Vibe, and it's kind of like lets me cross posts and stuff like that. And it's still some quirks and shit to be worked out, but it's helped me to be able to navigate both of these platforms simultaneously. So I'm appreciative of that. But yeah, man, follow me there on Mr. Spann. Mr. Spann at Threads, Mr. Spann at Instagram, Mr. Spann at Blue Sky, right? Also, hit us up with a 5-star review on iTunes and on Spotify. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get read here live on the show. We really appreciate those who do that. Doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and the Spann Report Podcast Network in its entirety. And also, man, on YouTube, man, leave us a thumbs up. Go ahead, like those videos. Go ahead, leave those comments. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube if you're so inclined, man, because we appreciate those of you who do that. And if you're leaving us comments on the YouTube channel, if you're leaving us comments on the videos, man, go ahead and do that so we can read those comments and reply to those comments here live on the show as well. That's part of our listener feedback, and we appreciate those of you who do that, right? And I believe that's all of the things and stuff. I believe that's it. Oh shit, that's right. Our store. Go ahead, cop yourself some merch. I'm wearing one of the official Mr. Spann shirts right now, man. I think this looks hot, man. I mean, not it is my shit, right? But no, man, I think this looks hot. You know what I'm saying? This is nice. So we appreciate everybody who supports us in that way. And this is one way for you to give to the show that does cost money, though, right? So, like, if you want to give us some money, if you want to support what it is that we're doing here financially, that's one way to do it. To go to our store at tpublic.com/Spann Podcast Network. The link will be in the show notes, and you can go there, copy yourself some merch, copy yourself a t-shirt. We got hats, we got hoodies, we got coffee mugs, we got mouse pads. We got a whole bunch of stuff over there. So we really appreciate everybody who patronizes us and supports the efforts in that way, man. Real talk. But yeah, man, it is like I said, it's been a couple weeks since last time I talked to y'all. So, I do have a couple like random thoughts. This is things that I have been thinking about over the course of the last couple weeks or so, right? And because I had some time to think about some shit. And one of the first random thoughts that I had this week was how like on commercials and shit, when, like, say for instance, you're watching a commercial and they'll say like 9 out of 10 dentists recommend this particular toothpaste because it helps with plaque, or 9 out of 10 dentists recommend this toothpaste for like whitening your teeth and sensitive gums and shit. Like, I feel like when it comes to the people that Donald Trump is appointing to his cabinet, he's choosing that 10th motherfucker. Like, he's really. He's choosing that 10th motherfucker that don't agree with everybody else, with all the experts and shit. He's choosing that motherfucker. So it's like, hey, 9 out of 10 lawyers say that 9 out of 10 lawyers say that we shouldn't be allowing sexual assaulters to be the attorney general. And what does Donald Trump do? He goes ahead and he appoints, or he tries to appoint, he nominates Matt Gaetz, who has been credibly accused of having sex with underage girls, as his next attorney general. Because if we know anything, Matt Gaetz is gonna come down on the sex traffickers. Am I right? Okay, but like, that's not it though. That's not it, right? So another thing is 9 out of 10 national and intelligence experts suggest that Tulsi Gabbard is a national security threat. So what does Donald Trump do? Hey, I'm going to make her the director of national and motherfucking intelligence. Because why not? Right? Why not? 9 out of 10 diplomats think that Herschel Walker should probably be seen for concussion protocols. You know what he does? Hey, I'm going to go ahead and get this man to be the ambassador. I'm going to give him ambassador to the Bahamas, man.
What in blue blazes is going on out here? Did this nigga just say blue blazes?
So yeah, man, one of the things that I've been thinking about, man, is like, Donald Trump, when it comes to appointing people to his cabinet or trying to nominate folks to his cabinet, when it comes to 9 out of 10 experts believe one thing, Donald Trump is going with that 10th nigga that says, nah, that's cool. We can go. We all right with that over there. That ain't the deal breaker. So I was thinking about that and shit. Another thing I was kind of thinking about, I go into people's houses every day and shit, just part of my job, and sometimes I get to, I see y'all little setups and shit, like I see your entertainment setup, and some of y'all got some nice motherfucking setups, man, real talk. Like, y'all got the big TVs and shit. Y'all got the LED lighting and whatnot. Y'all got the surround sounds booming and whatever. It's nice, man. It's nice for real, man. Real talk. No doubt about it. But if I had one little critique of some of y'all setups, man, it would be that, it's okay for y'all to take those yellow Energy Star stickers off y'all TVs, man.
What the fuck, y'all? God damn! God damn! God damn! What? Fuck!
Ain't nobody gonna give you a whooping. It's your setup, dog. What they gonna do? They gonna come in your house and whoop your ass because you still got you. Hey, did this nigga take the sticker off the TV? Did he take that goddamn sticker? Hey, bro. It is like informational or whatever. You don't have to keep that on there. It's okay. You can take that shit off. I'll be thinking about that. Every time I see that shit, I'm like, they still got that shit on there. That's crazy. I don't know why I'll be noticing it, but I do, man. Real talk. Let's see what else I was thinking about this last week. Oh, yeah. One of the things I was thinking about. Could y'all stop with like using the filters and shit where like your face is in the clouds and stuff? Like, nah, I'm being dead ass now. This ain't like, to me, this ain't even a motherfucking joke. I like at least 3 times over the course of the last 2 weeks, I done seen pictures where people have their head in the clouds and stuff like that. And y'all thinking the shit cute. And I'm thinking, your ass didn't go into glory, man. I'm thinking I got to send your family condolences and shit. I'm thinking, man, damn, man, gone too soon, man. Like, I just was with this nigga yesterday, bro. That's fucked up. And then there it is, like, oh, nigga, we celebrating my birthday, bitch. This going down. I'm like, damn, for real, nigga? Like, you can't be out here with the pictures in the clouds and shit, nigga. I thought we all understood those are universal death pictures, nigga. What are we doing? What are we doing out here, man? We can't be out here like that. So, yeah, man, I'm going to need y'all to chill out on that. Straight up. In that vein, though, the other thing I was thinking about, man, I'm gonna need y'all to stop being so private when y'all are actually out here soliciting prayers and shit, right? You know, like, oh man, you know, pray for me, man. We going through something in my family right now, and I just need y'all prayers and support and everything else. And like, you know, then y'all never say nothing and shit if the prayer got answered or not. Like if the prayers went up and got answered or not, you know. Now I do know that sometimes the answer to the prayer could be no, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's hard to be out here praying for somebody, like not knowing what exactly I'm praying for, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get Jesus on the main line so I can tell him what I want, but you ain't told me what's happening, so I can't really tell him what I want. So I won't even know if the prayer got answered. What are we praying for exactly? Like, are we praying that the syphilis, you know, results come back negative? Are we praying that the baby comes back from being missing? And if she did come back, where the fuck was she at? You know what I'm saying? Come back and give us an update on that. Like, I would like that sort of like, that sort of fucking, you know, like transparency, especially if y'all here soliciting prayers, man, on the social media. Y'all get out here, y'all be soliciting the prayers and shit, and then y'all leave us hanging. We don't know if the prayers was answered or not. We just like, oh man, I'm just out here praying, and I mean, not to say that there's anything wrong with just being prayerful, right? Not to say that anything wrong, but when you out here soliciting prayers, I think we got a little right to ask, like, hey man, what am I praying for right now? Because you could be praying for somebody's downfall, and I might not be cool with that, right? So yeah, man, that was just something I was thinking about. I know it's kind of wild, but you know, it was on my mind. So there you go, man. Some of my random thoughts, man. Let's get into the rest of the show since I am done with giving the randoms, okay? Now, the first thing that we talk about here tonight, like again, some of these stories may be a little old to y'all, but this is the first time I've had a chance to really speak to them. So, you know, you got to bear with your boy, you know what I'm saying? But, yo, Remy Ma and Papoose, man, I need y'all to say this shit ain't so, man.
Oh man, hey.
I hate what's going on with Remy Ma and Papoose, man. Like, these motherfuckers was the bastions of black love, man. All over social media, these niggas, I had people all over social media telling myself, oh my God, I want that's couples goals, relationship goals, man. I love them. He stood 10 toes down for her when she was locked down. That's a real nigga. That, you know, because these niggas ain't gonna stay. They ain't gonna stay down for you like that. Not most of these niggas ain't gonna do that. And it was a whole bunch of like, this stupid motherfucker. He wasn't out here doing nothing. I mean, he wasn't out here doing nothing. You really want me to believe this nigga went out here doing nothing? Like, niggas couldn't believe he wasn't out here doing nothing, and the women was like loving this motherfucker for out here allegedly not doing nothing, right? And like, you know, Remy Ma went to jail for shooting somebody and whatnot, and like apparently they got married and stuff, and he couldn't wait for her to come home. And when she got home, he wanted to knock her up, and they have a baby together and stuff like that. They were like one of the lead couples on Love and Hip Hop. They were black love personified. You know what I'm saying? Before everybody got tired of Will and Jada, right? Before everybody got tired of Will and Jada, these was the people that everybody was kind of holding up as the next Will and Jada. Like, yo, man, this is hip hop. This is a hip hop royalty couple and all this other shit, you know? And so, Papoose and Remy Ma, man, just been kind of going at each other on social media, and it's been kind of nasty, bro. It's like, man, you hate to see it. You hate to see it, but we got some news here from Billboard. So I'm gonna pull this video up here from Billboard so you guys can watch right along with your man Spann. Hold on a second while I pull this up, so we can see what the hell the people at Billboard are talking about and how all this shit is really kind of going down. Let me pull that up so boom, y'all can see that, and let's see what.
Remy Ma and Papoose have broken up, and the rapper is accusing her ex of cheating with boxer Clarissa Shields. We have the story. The popular hip-hop couple called it quits, and it's getting messy. Remy posted online.
Also, first things first, man. If your dude breaks up with you and gets with a girl who is a world champion fighter, you might have to shoot her. You might have to shoot somebody again, because I don't know if you want to throw them hands, man. Like, I don't know if that's what you want to do. Personally, I'd be like, hey, man, you know what? Y'all got it. You know what I'm saying? That'd be like me, like if my wife left me for like Mike Tyson and shit. And I'm like, yo, I'm gonna have to shoot Mike. I ain't about to be out here fighting Mike Tyson. I'm gonna have to shoot Mike, man. That's just what it's gonna have to be. So like, you know, like for you know, Remy Ma to be out here going back and forth with Clarissa Shields, I don't know if that's the kind of smoke you want, lady. I'm just saying, you might have to shoot Clarissa. You ain't gonna be out here throwing them ones and twos with her. I'm just saying.
Putting Papoose on blast. She said, dumbass fell asleep on the phone with Clarissa Shields. T laying in my house, he refuses to leave. This bitch is supposed to be a world champion boxer and gets scary ass hung up on as soon as she heard my voice. Well, not to back down from a fight, Clarissa posted, how a woman with 2 boyfriends mad at a man that has a girlfriend. And that man, Papoose himself, posted, sad to say that Remy Ma is a narcissist. She chose to cheat repeatedly. Now I have finally moved on, she's playing the victim. I have requested a divorce numerous times. The entire breakup is playing out online, where you can find even more posts between them. Remy,
you know what though? And you know, all jokes aside and stuff, right? This is actually quite sad. This is really sad. And the reason why I say it's really sad is because they are crashing out, the both of them, they're crashing out on social media, and they're spilling all of their business out. They're putting all of their business out on social media. Much of this shit ain't none of our business whatsoever. Not at all. Ain't got nothing to do with us, right? And I say all the time when it comes to these celebrities, we don't know these niggas, right? We don't know exactly who's telling the truth. We don't know who did what when or whatever. Could Papoose have cheated on Remy Ma when she was locked up? It's very well possible, right? And, you know, there had been rumors that Remy Ma had been messing around on Papoose, and he's saying that's what those rumors are true and everything. We had heard, you know, shit was coming up in battle raps and stuff like that, right? So, you know, again, for those of us who are not around these motherfuckers on the daily, like shit, we don't know. We just going by what we've heard, right? The sad thing about this, though, to me, right, is like I said, man, these two were being held up by a lot of folk as being couples goals. These two were black love personified. And it's sad to see their union end in this way, where they feel like they both have to save face to a public whom they don't owe anything to. We are not owed any fucking information about their relationship. We are not owed any insider knowledge about why they're breaking up and who did what, when, why. This is not our fucking business. But the fact that I think they feel like they owe it to us because they live their relationship out so publicly, you know, on not even just social media, but being, you know, cast members on Love and Hip Hop and everything else. Ultimately, though, they don't owe us this shit. And, you know, them crashing out and trying to save face to a public who ultimately doesn't really care. That's the saddest part about this. The public doesn't really care. The public sees this as entertainment. You guys are fodder for entertainment for the cycle that people are going to be talking about this. Me and y'all got to deal with the ashes of what happened between the two of you. Y'all got to deal with the fallout of that. Meanwhile, the public then moved on to something entirely different because they don't really care. They only invested in you providing them with some entertainment in the moment. And, you know, it's sad that, you know, two people who seem to love each other really, you know, very much. It's sad to me to watch them crash out, to watch this relationship crash out. And then on top of that, you know, they do have children amongst each other. They do have a child together. At some point, those children will be of age where, you know, they will have access to, damn, this happened with my mom and my dad. And they, like, the whole public knows this about my mom and my dad. And like, they're going to be old enough to where they can read this shit. They can hear this shit. They can watch this shit. And it's just it's not healthy for anybody. So that's the thing that I find, like, to me, that's what I took from this. Like, I just hate that, like, this is what that came to, that both of them felt like they had to save face to a public who they ultimately don't owe anything to. So yeah, man, got that going on. Say it on. I wish it wasn't so, man, but it looks like it is. So, where Remy Ma and Papoose are calling it quits, and they are doing it in very public ways, and you just had to see it go out that way, man. Real talk. Another relationship sort of story that we got going on here, man. Excuse me, and that has to do with Travis Hunter, the cornerback / wide receiver, Heisman Trophy winner from the University of Colorado. He is now getting relationship advice on social media from none other than Lil Bow Wow. Yeah, man. So first things first, man, I want to go on record here because I haven't talked about them much since last year, right? Colorado did a damn thing this year. I was very much a critic of Colorado last year, mostly behind. Hold on. I was very much a critic of Colorado last year, mostly surrounding like the way that Deion Sanders, made it a spectacle around that program, around him, and not so much, the players. I still feel a way about the way that Deion Sanders, hop shit from an HBCU to go to a mediocre white school and called it elevation. I still feel a way about that shit. But ultimately, he had those boys playing good. Had them playing good ball this year. So much so that Travis Hunter was a Heisman Trophy candidate and ultimately ended up winning that Heisman Trophy. So congratulations to him for that. Congratulations to Colorado for the season that they had, right? I was wrong. I can say that much. Okay. All that being said, Travis Hunter has been the target of a lot of social media ire because of not only his increased visibility for being the caliber of football player that he is, but also because because people are living their lives out on social media. People are very much in tune to what his relationship status is and who he's in a relationship with, and some of the things going on with their relationship because they're documenting all their stuff on social media. And a lot of folks right now are telling this dude that he needs to, dump his girlfriend.
Who are these niggas? We need to stay away from these niggas.
It sounds to me like a whole lot of.
Oh man, hey.
And the reason why I say that is again, we don't know these niggas. Oftentimes, man, I think people misunderstand social media. The shit that you see on social media is the shit that people want you to see on social media. Folks curate their images on social media. Folks want you, like, they'll present a certain way, and you may not know some of this other thing, some of the other shit that's going on with them. Some of the stuff you see on social media ain't even real, right? But they're influencing you to believe that this stuff is real, right? Now, what's been interesting is Travis Hunter, he's one of those kids where he's making NIL money. He's going to be an NFL player. He's going to be probably a number one draft pick of an NFL team at some point. He's in a relationship. I believe it's a 5-year relationship with a young lady. Apparently they've been together for about, like you said, about 5 years. And, the way that it's being portrayed on social media is that this young lady said that he wasn't really her type when, he first came, when he first approached her, and now she's grown to love him. And many people, cynically take that to say that yo, man, she wasn't really into this nigga until she found out that he was going to probably be, a meal ticket, right? A lot of folks feel that way. And, to be honest, man, it's not as if that's a far-fetched idea. It very well could possibly be what that is. The flip side to that is we don't necessarily know that to be the truth. We don't know if that's what's happening there, right? And so now, because of the scrutiny that she's getting on social media, there was a video of Deion Sanders having to tap her, maybe kind of catch her attention to where she stood up for Travis Hunter after he won the Heisman Trophy. There's instances where she said, well, Travis used to take her to parties and he would just, sit in the car while she was in the partying and whatnot. And he would just wait for her to come out and then drive her home. And people like, what kind of sucker shit is that? That's some sip ass shit. Like things like that, many people just tend to think they're like, yo, man, like this isn't how I would have operated in a relationship. And I don't want this young man to be operating in this relationship. And then there's this other thing that like people feel as though they're going to be very much protective of this young man that they don't fucking know. Right? We want to protect this young brother from being taken advantage of. And, like she looks like she might be a little spicy white or something like that. So they feel like, man, here's another brother being taken advantage of by the white girls, man, who trying to swoop in, taking this black wealth. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a whole lot of that going on. Right? One little, I was going to say Lil Wayne, one little Bow Wow. He's still a little Bow Wow to me because he was Lil Bow Wow when the nigga came out. And this seemed like some little Bow Wow shit to do, right? To me. But one little Bow Wow came out and he had something to say to young Travis Hunter about his relationship with his girlfriend. And he felt as though he needed to go on social media to express his dismay of what was going on with Travis Hunter and his girlfriend, his fiance, Leanna Lene. That's her name, Leanna Lene. So we get this story here. This comes out of Yahoo. Let me pull this up because I believe there's a video attached to this as well. He wants the young blood to wake up. He wants him to wake up. Said Bow Wow has some doubts about Travis Hunter's relationship. On Thursday, December 19th, the rapper / actor took to social media to offer a bit of advice for the Colorado Buffalo star. The 37-year-old rapper said he typically doesn't get involved in other people's business, but he decided to get involved in this one. Okay. But claimed he has seen some concerning things involving Hunter's fiancée, Leanna Lene. I've been watching from afar. Bow Wow began. I was once young, too. I was once young, about to make a lot of money, and I know how this shit go. So I need you to hear me out. Number one, I don't want you feeling as though everybody's jumping down your back or cats is hating. That's that young nigga mentality. I want you to look at this like niggas care about you. You don't know this nigga to care about him. You don't. The vast majority of the people on social media do not know this young man to care about him. They don't. Oftentimes, what ends up happening with some of these parasocial relationships, you use these people to, kind of be avatars to whatever grievances that you have about a certain type of situation. If you got a problem with a young lady being with a young man, and that young man is probable to make a whole lot of money, and he's already talking about committing to her, and you got a problem with that idea in and of itself, that is just an avatar for you to talk about this shit. You don't give a fuck about him and that girl. Y'all don't know them. Haven't known them. Right? So Bow Wow did a video. So I'm gonna pull this video up so you guys can watch right along with me here. Let's see what Bow Wow has to say in its entirety to young Travis Hunter. Let's see what Bow Wow, what wisdom Bow Wow is espousing here. Let's see what he's talking about.
Travy. Check this out, gang. It's coming from your boy Bow Weezy, right? I never met you, don't know you, know nothing. I will say this.
This nigga said Bow Weezy. We still doing Bow Weezy. But also, he leads off with, my name is Bow Weezy. I don't know you and never met you. Which means you don't know what the fuck you talking about. You only know what has been presented to you on social media. Let's also not get it misconstrued. A lot of these celebrities get caught up in the bullshit on social media too. It ain't just the regular folk. Here's a prime example. Bow Wow is young enough to where his life has been primarily lived through social media. He's probably never known a life without social media. He's young enough for that, right? So it's not far-fetched for a nigga to feel like he knows something to where he wants to, I'm going to espouse and give you advice on how you should do this, that, and the other based on the shit that I see on social media, not necessarily based on the things that I know from the people around you, based on me talking to you, based on me having some experience with you and the young lady that you around. Nah, he's not going to tell you nothing based on that. He's going to tell you based on the shit that he's seen on social media, the same as the rest of these birds on social media. Right? But I'm gonna let this go.
because I've been watching from afar. I'm not the type of nigga to jump in people's business, but I was once young, about to make a lot of money, and I know how this shit go. So I need you to hear me out. Number one, I don't want you feeling as though everybody jumping down your back or cats is hating. That's that young nigga mentality. I want you to look at this like niggas care about you. And especially in our community and in this industry, not a lot of brothers get the opportunity like you about to get. You know what I mean? You about to get the biggest check in your life. You about to go to the NFL. And all we are doing is waking you up, young brother. Because if you don't see what the fuck is going on, gang, if we didn't give a fuck, we'll let you crash out. But from
If y'all gave a fuck, I mean, hold on. If we didn't give a fuck, we'd just let you crash out. Y'all really don't give a fuck. Here's the thing. There is I already kind of expressed this, but there is a thought process of if you feel like a woman is about to get over on a dude financially, and you have a problem with that, Travis Hunter is an avatar for you to express those concerns. It could be anybody. It could be like one of the Ball brothers, right? It could have been one of the Ball brothers at some point. I didn't hear any of y'all like really expressing any of these fucking concerns about them hanging out with like, Nikki Baby and shit from Love and Hip Hop. I didn't see any of those concerns and shit about any of the women that they were dealing with. And they were young brothers coming up and everything. They had girlfriends and shit, having babies and everything else. Like, y'all pick and choose, right? When y'all decide this is what we gonna be on for right now. And it's not even just contingent upon if y'all feel as though a woman is gonna come up on a brother, right? Like, take for instance, Malika Andrews, right? Malika Andrews is the NBA show host on ESPN. She caught a lot of flack from black dudes who said that she always going in on brothers and bringing up shit that ain't had nothing to do with basketball, as if she wasn't just doing her job, right? And even when it came to the stuff that they said didn't have anything to do with basketball, the shit that came up had to do with the business of basketball, whether y'all like to acknowledge the shit or not. Had to do with the business of basketball. So when she comes up with, this dude was involved in was ancillarily involved in the killing, and we are wondering how that will affect whether or not a team decides they want to deal with that or not when it comes to drafting him. Yeah, you might be mad that she brought that up, but that don't mean that those teams weren't thinking about that when they were considering to draft him or not. But if you have been inundated on social media with this idea that Malika Andrews hates black men, and all of the people on social media that you listen to are repeating the same shit, and then it becomes this echo chamber of everybody repeating the same shit. Now Bow Wow was out here acting like he really cares about this dude he's never met, never talked to, and is claiming that like, I need you to hear this advice because we care about you. It's like, nigga, no, you don't. You are hopping on social media to talk to this young man about some shit that's personal to him. And if it was me, honestly, if you really felt like you cared about here's the thing with Bow Wow. If Bow Wow really cared about this young man, if Bow Wow really felt like this young man really needed to hear what he had to say, he wouldn't have took to social media. Social media would be the last place he'd have brought this up at. I'd have called Travis Hunter. I'd have tried to meet with Travis Hunter. I'm sure Bow Wow, being who he is, should have some level of cachet, some level of connection to be able to say, hey man, like, could y'all get me in touch with this young man? But Bow Wow took to social media just like the rest of these birds to talk about this young man and his relationship.
From one player to the next, hey, my nigga, I ain't gonna tell you what to do, but I want you to open up your eyes, man. There's no reason why she commenting on another nigga page, an NBA nigga, with heart eyes and the motherfucking money tongue out. That's your fiance. Wake up, young brother. Fiancés don't move like that. I ain't never had one of my motherfucking girls ever lay next to me in the same crib as me under another nigga page, leaving heart eyes with the money tongue out.
I mean, we did see one of your young ladies like beat you up in an elevator though. You'll scratch the fuck up all up in it. Like we did see that. Like, and we saw that because again, you were using your relationship for some sort of, societal, parasocial relationship with the public, right? That none of our fucking business, but that became a storyline on a goddamn reality TV show. If you really wanted to reach out to that young man, you could have hey man, I'm sure at some point you got some sort of fucking connection to Deion Sanders at some point, or get me in touch with Deion Sanders so I can get in touch with this young man so I can tell him how I feel about this, and maybe he heeds this advice, maybe he doesn't. But to get your ass on social media to talk about this makes it more about you. To me, this is what it looks like to me. This looks like to me you trying to make you a part of the discussion that everybody is having. Not so much about you caring so much about what Travis Hunter is going through. This is about Bow Wow being a part of the discussion. This is some clout chasey ass shit. And I know a lot of folks are like, well, shit, Bow Wow don't need the clout chase. Like, he shouldn't. Just like he didn't have to fucking act like he was on a private fucking jet when he was flying commercial. Bow Wow does clout chasey type of shit sometimes. It's just kind of what he does. It's kind of what he does, man. Like, I mean, let's not be, let's not act as though we're not familiar with Bow Weezy. We watched this nigga grow up, right? Let's not act like we don't know. This is kind of what he does, man. Oh shit, I ain't
No violation. That bitch would have been packing up her shit and getting the fuck out my crib that day. I don't play that shit. You out. And it's like you so caught up in being in love with this motherfucker, bro. I don't even think this woman really love you like that, bro. You gotta watch the signs, man. That woman said
again, he just said he don't know this young man. He don't be in everybody's business. How do you feel comfortable enough to say all this shit to a man that you don't fucking know? Who you have no fucking relationship with whatsoever. How do you feel comfortable enough to say that to another man about his relationship when you don't know neither one of these motherfuckers? But again, when it comes to these parasocial relationships that we have online, when we start feeling comfortable enough to start speaking on the relationships that these people have online, despite the fact that we don't know none of these people, we only know what they present to us online. And even your celebrities get caught up in this shit. Some celebrities get caught up in this. This is a prime example of it when it comes to Bow Wow and this Travis Hunter shit.
you weren't even her type. If a woman tell me she not my type but end up with me, then what's keeping you here? What's keeping you here then? If I'm not your type, that means you going off looks. So what the fuck is keeping you here? You got to ask, but you young though, but you got to ask yourself them questions. We not coming down on you, brother. We trying to wake you up. You know what I'm saying? Before this motherfucker end up. Last but not least, young brother, I want you to live your life, man. You young, man. I don't even think you 24 yet. Do you know how much women are about to be thrown your way? Boy, you the Heisman.
Oh my God. Nigga, you know how much pussy about to come your way? You about to try to tie yourself down to this little, you ain't even 24 yet, boy. You trying to tie yourself down to this one girl and all this pussy about to come your way. It always comes back. It always comes back, man. Don't tie yourself down, man. Go on there, go out there and sow your royal oats, boy. Go on out there and sow them royal oats. You don't know what you want, boy. You don't know what it's 101 flavors out there, boy. You gonna have some Asians out there, boy. You got some Nigerian girls out there gonna be throwing it at you, boy. You gonna have some Japanese girls. You gonna have some Japanese. You gonna have Japanese/South African girls throwing it at you, nigga. You ain't even ready for that. You ain't even ready for that. She gonna be throwing that Nkosi like fucking samurai shit on you, boy. You ain't even ready for that. Meanwhile, it's because you're young, right? Bow Wow hasn't shown himself to be the most stable when it comes to relationships. And that's just based upon what I've seen on social media. I don't really know that for certain, But just based upon what I've seen in social media and everything else, doesn't seem like Bow Wow is the most stable motherfucker when it comes to having a relationship. So, I mean, in much the same way that people would, would criticize Steve Harvey for trying to be a relationship expert when Steve Harvey had been through so many different marriages, right? And people are like, well, why the fuck should I listen to you and shit? Like, obviously you didn't have this shit all together either, right? So I say all this to say that as much as I think it's odd, I think it's weird. I think it's weird for so many grown ass men to feel as though they need to give this young man relationship advice, considering they don't know this young man from a can of paint. Right? That's what's weird to me. That so many of y'all feel invested in this young man's relationship. Y'all don't know him. Y'all don't know his young lady. Y'all don't know what their situation is other than what they've shown you on social media. Y'all don't know these people. These parasocial relationships are fucking weird. Y'all don't know these people. And it's weird in the sense that, you seem to have so much vested in people who don't even fucking know you exist. That's the other part about it. Like, they don't even know you exist, but you have you have so much you feel so invested in who they are and how they live their life. And meanwhile, they're just trying to figure it out. Can you imagine trying to like live your life and then some motherfucker that you never talked to a day in your life comes up to you and starts telling you, well, this is what you need to do. Nigga, who the fuck are you? Nigga, I don't know you. Why the fuck should I listen to you? That's why you're getting Travis Hunter responding to people in the way in which he is. I don't know you people. As much as, so many young people are living their lives and presenting so much of themselves on social media. A lot of us are doing it, are living, and presenting so much on social media. Ultimately, like, yo, I don't know you. Therefore, when you come to me with some advice on how I should move, especially considering that I know that you don't know everything about me, only what I've shown you on social media, I'm going to tell you to get the fuck up out my face with the bullshit. Whether you are trying to present this as, love and, little help and all this other shit. Nah, bro, I don't know you. Lil Bow Wow does not know Travis Hunter. Started this video with, I don't know you, young blood, but. Hey, man. Stay in your lane. Go be Lil Bow Wow. Go be out here still talking about all the pussy that's about to get thrown his way. All the pussy that you still getting thrown your way. Go enjoy all that pussy. Go do that. Go be over there and do that. But if this was a sincere reach out, like I said, if this was sincere, Lil Bow Wow would have called that young man privately. He would have met with that young man privately. This wouldn't have been no social media shit. Lil Bow Wow out here trying to be a part of the conversation. And that's just how I feel about it. But yeah, we got that going on. Now, the next story we got going on here, man. Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington came out here and became Reverend Denzel motherfucking Washington, y'all. He a whole rev out here, man. Like, this man that went out and got baptized, they got baptized and became a reverend all in one weekend. This nigga got the express package. I didn't even know you could do that. You can get baptized and become a minister in one weekend? Nigga, bruh, I didn't know that was possible. But I mean, it's Denzel Washington, so, you got that going on too. But like, Denzel Washington, Pastor Denzel Washington. So let's see. We get this story here. This comes from KTLA. Are they talking about this right now in this video? Hold on. No, they're talking. Hold on. Let me see this. Let me see. Let me go ahead and pull this up so you guys can watch with me. There's a video on here, and I want to make sure that they're talking about the story. So let's see what they're talking about.
Going to get an Academy Award nomination for this movie. He already has 2 Academy Awards. Over the weekend, the Gladiator 2 star celebrated a new milestone in his life. He was baptized over the weekend at a church in Harlem in New York City on Saturday. The church live streamed the event on Facebook. The ceremony included Washington's baptism, and he was also presented with a minister license. The actor spoke to the congregation about how the experience was 50 years in the making.
Wow.
Turn 70 next week. I was 20 when I sat in my mother's beauty parlor, and Miss Ruth Green was known to have the gift of prophecy. Some of you may have heard this story. And she prophesied. She said, boy, you are going to travel the world and preach to millions of people. She couldn't even spell the word prophecy. My mother wrote prophecy, and my mother wrote Reverend Washington, actually. And 50 years later.
Wow. The actor also thanked his wife, Pauletta Washington, who was there to support.
Hey, man, like real talk, that's what's up. That's what's up. I love to see people coming to their, coming to their spirituality, coming to who they feel like they're, they've been sent here to be. I love that for people, man. But I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. When I first saw the story, man, the only thing one of the things that kind of came to my head was like, can you imagine Denzel Washington up there giving a sermon, and he gave the sermon like he was in character. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if Denzel Washington goes up there and he's giving a sermon and he's Alonzo from fucking Training Day? You know what I'm saying? And, instead oh shit. And every time he sees one of y'all put y'all money in the basket, you like, my nigga. Like that sort of shit, man. Or if you don't give any money and put that shit in the basket, you're like, you motherfuckers will be worshiping in Pelican Bay when I get finished preaching. No, that's fucked up. I shouldn't go there. But I thought about it. I thought about it so bad, man. Like, yo, like that's crazy, man. No, but honestly though, like Denzel Washington is Reverend Denzel Washington. And he's coming into the next stage of his life, man. I know there's been talks of him retiring from acting, and so he's setting himself up for the next stage of his life, man. And so as much as I would enjoy a sermon of Denzel Washington as Alonzo from Training Day, I also understand that man is taking this very seriously, and that his spirituality is what it is. It's not for me to question or anything like that, but just the thought of it. I would love to be in church that day, and when Denzel Washington like seeps into like one of his characters and becomes Malcolm X and shit in the pew, or Alonzo, or John Q, or any of the other like iconic actors, like roles that Denzel Washington was, right? Because he's like one of our greats, man. So yeah, shout out to Denzel Washington for that. Real talk. Another story that came up over the course of the week that I didn't talk to you guys, man. Jay-Z had been accused of sexual assault of a 13-year-old girl. Yeah, man. One of the things that I thought has been very interesting about, this particular story has been the response to Denzel Washington. But Jay-Z, the response to Jay-Z coming out and talking about this particular incident. Jay-Z came out with a pretty forceful denial of the allegations. And I kind of monitored like how people responded to his response to this, right? Because I honestly do not know what the proper response is to someone who has been accused of sexual assault or rape or whatever. I don't know what the proper response is. And I don't think any of us really understand what the proper response is. And oftentimes our reactions to it is based upon whether or not we, kind of believe this person may or may not have done it. Right. So my thing with this particular issue is that I'm on record of saying that, like, yo, when women come forward to allege that a sexual assault has occurred to them, I tend to believe them, right? And part of the reason why I do that is because I already know how hard it is for those women to come forward with those accusations, especially if it took years for those women to come forward with those accusations. We saw, what it was like for the women that came forward against Bill Cosby. Even, at first it was like, it's a bunch of white women. Why y'all listening to these white bitches? And then Beverly Johnson comes out and it's like, why she ain't say nothing before? And it's like, here we go again. It's like every time we discount the women's, we discount their allegation as it can't possibly be true, despite the fact that we don't know these niggas. And also, we think of these people, Jay-Z, Diddy, Bill Cosby, any other like prominent person who's been accused of some sort of sexual assault. First thing people say is like, they ain't even had to take it. Like, why would he do that? Shit, there's women throwing pussy out. Bow Wow was just telling them, the little young dude, they throwing pussy all over the place. You ain't got to take it. Why ain't taking it? And ultimately, like, we know it's not so much about the practice of just taking it. It's just an exercise in power. Like, I can do it because of who I am. Like, and nobody's going to believe you because of who I am. Right? So, my thing is, like, as it stands right now, this is one allegation towards Jay-Z. I'm waiting to see if there are any more to come out. Much the same way that, like, many came out against R. Kelly. Many came out against Bill Cosby. Many came out against what's the Weinstein. A lot of people came out against these dudes, right? I'm waiting to see. I don't know, because I don't know Jay-Z. Now, some people have looked at his, they've looked at his forceful sort of statement against the allegations as an admission of guilt, right? Like, why he going so hard? You know what I'm saying? Like, his lawyer didn't get in front of that and talk, like, like, truthfully speaking, it did, like, seem like, yeah, he just kind of was being reckless with the shit. Like, he was being reckless. I don't think any publicist or lawyer would have advised him to put that statement out or anything else. But again, when you want to defend yourself, what's the right way to go about that? Plenty of people have wanted to defend themselves and went and taken their lawyer's advice and not defended themselves in the court of public opinion. And then when it comes time to picking a jury, the jury has already made up their mind, despite the fact that they're not had, they probably shouldn't have, but they have an idea of what it is that you did and like how, and their perception of you. And like, so what is the proper way to say, I didn't do this, other than just say, hey, I didn't do this. Right. But then you gotta, you put that up against, Diddy coming out and saying, hey man, this is a shakedown. They're trying to get me, out of all this money and everything else. And I was, this is some bullshit, yada, yada, yada. And then video comes out of him beating the hell out of Cassie. Like, shit, I was in a bad place, man. Shit. But I done went to rehab. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get better, yada, yada, yada. Right? Because Diddy came out just as forceful and said this was some bullshit until, the video came out, and then it became, oh, better yet, Diddy came out right after Cassie said some shit and settled that shit right then. And everybody was talking about it was just a cash grab for Cassie. She was just trying to get some bread. They didn't believe her until we saw a video of her getting her ass whooped. Plenty of people jumped off the bridge, man, jumped off the ledge to say, this is some shit for this woman to like extort this man out of some money. Then we see evidence of it being different. And then some of those people didn't come back and say, oh shit, I got that wrong. My bad. I'm sorry. I fucked up. Some people did. And kudos to y'all for recognizing that y'all jumped off that ledge, right? But it's okay for you to not like, yo, I don't know. This is part of the thing about having platforms, man. Being on microphones and saying what it is you feel about the world and everything else. You don't have to jump off that ledge, bro. If you don't have information, just say you don't have that information. It's okay for you to not to say nothing at all, especially if you don't know what the fuck it is you're talking about. It's okay. It's okay. But far too many of us feel when we get in front of these microphones, when we get in front of these cameras, that we have to come out and declaratively say one way or another how we feel about it. And I'm going to tell you this right now, man, as much as I enjoy Jay-Z's music, I don't know if this dude did or did not do this or not. I don't know that nigga. Right? Now, when like, say for instance, someone like an R. Kelly, I know someone personally who was victimized by R. Kelly. I'm from Chicago on the South Side. I know people I know someone personally who was victimized by R. Kelly. I do not listen to R. Kelly's music whatsoever. Despite the fact that I know other people in Southside Chicago who know people who were abused by R. Kelly, who can't wait to throw on backyard party every time there's goddamn, barbecue or some shit like that. And I gotta see, I skin and bear it and shit, when I go home. I'm like, this is what these niggas is on. But yeah, it's okay for you to say you don't know. I'm gonna let the facts come out and play themselves out. I'm going to allow for this story to develop before I make any more declarative, statements on it. But yeah, man, like if Jay-Z is guilty of what he's alleged to have done by this young lady, this shit. Put his ass up underneath the jail, the same as R. Kelly, the same as Harvey Weinstein, the same as Diddy, the same as Bill Cosby was righteously until, some other shit happened because he had a deal with the DA that got his ass out. Wasn't that he didn't do it. He just had a deal. Right? So, yeah, I want to read a bit from the story, though, before I move on. I'm going to read a bit from the story. This comes out of Rolling Stone. It says, Jay-Z, the billionaire rapper and entrepreneur, found himself catapulted into Sean Diddy Combs' sexual abuse saga Sunday when he was named as a co-defendant in a refiled lawsuit garnering global headlines. In the amended complaint, the Grammy winner, born Sean Carter, was accused of raping a 13-year-old girl alongside Combs at an award show after party more than 20 years ago. Carter quickly and categorically denied the allegation, calling it an idiotic attempt at blackmail. Hours later, his high-powered lawyer, Alex Spiro, put a final point on the denial, calling the claims false and unfounded. In court filings, Carter and Spiro urged a federal judge to unmask the Jane Doe or dismiss her complaint. Spiro said his client never sexually assaulted anyone and has no idea who the woman is. Carter and Spiro notably aimed most of their contempt at Tony Busby, the prominent Houston attorney who brought the amended lawsuit to New York and is representing nearly 24 accusers in lawsuits filed against Combs. They called Busby a fraud and orchestrated a shakedown and confirmed that Carter is the John Doe celebrity who sued Busby for alleged extortion in Los Angeles last month. They claim Busby added Carter's name to the lawsuit as a clear act of retaliation because Carter sued first. Busby vigorously denied any extortion and has vowed to keep fighting as a ferocious feud plays out in courtrooms on both coasts. Here's what you need to know. What Jane Doe's lawsuit alleges exactly. The Jane Doe behind the complaint is one of 20 plaintiffs who have sued Combs for sexual misconduct in the lawsuits connected to Busby. In her original paperwork filed October 20th, she alleged that Combs and an unidentified male celebrity took turns raping her at an after party for the MTV Music Awards in the year 2000 in New York. She said she was 13 years old at the time and gained access to the party by showing up to Radio City Music Hall without a ticket, chatting to Combs' limo driver, and scoring an invitation because she allegedly fit what Diddy was looking for, per the lawsuit. The updated version of the suit claimed that after the girl allegedly was drugged. The updated version of the suit claimed that after the girl allegedly was drugged, Carter removed her clothes and assaulted her first, while Combs and an unidentified female celebrity watched. The alleged female celebrity remained anonymous in the amended complaint. Less than an hour after news of the amended lawsuit broke, Carter released a lengthy statement on X, formerly Twitter, using his Rock Nation account. The first line referenced Busby and alleged an attempted alleged blackmail attempt. Carter said he believes that Busby thought that the threat of such disturbing allegations going public would force his hand. He called it a miscalculation. I will not give you one red penny, he wrote. Carter called the allegations heinous and said that if true, the real perpetrators should be locked away. He lamented having to sit down with his wife, Beyonce, to prepare their young kids for exposure to the news. I have no idea how you have become such a deplorable human being, Mr. Busby, but I promise you, I have seen your kind many times over. You claim to be a Marine. Marines are known for their valor. You have neither valor nor dignity. Carter said Busby made a terrible error in judgment, thinking that he was like other celebrities. I'm not from your world. I'm a young man who made it out of the project of Brooklyn. We don't play these types of games. We have very strict codes and honor. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. So, like I said, a lot of folks had, there are mixed feelings about how Jay-Z, how forcefully he came out with his denial of this. I'm just of the mindset that, like, shit, I don't know how it is that you respond to someone like this. I know that I will say this. If this is something that, like, if I was accused of some shit that I know I didn't do, you would be hard pressed to keep me from saying I didn't do this shit and fuck anybody who believes that I did this shit. But I understand how, legally your lawyers might not want you to say a goddamn thing. Hey man, let's just let this, as much as it pains you to watch people believe these sorts of things about you, it's probably best for you to shut the fuck up. Right? Probably best for you to shut the fuck up and let this thing play out. But ultimately, like I said, until more stuff comes out about this, I don't know. And I think it's okay for us to, like, be in a stage of, hey man, we don't know until we get more information. Far too many people want to jump out and be like they know, and we ain't got all the information. Much the same way that far too many people will be willing to give relationship advice to people that they don't know because of because all they know what they seen on social media. So yeah, man, it's going to be very interesting time to see how this manifests and works itself out going into 2025, man. Because whatever portal that fucking Cat Williams opened the fuck up, I wish he would shut that motherfucker down, man. Not never. Okay, nigga, damn. But yeah, we got that going on. So another thing we got going on is Caitlin Clark, man. Caitlin Clark really made white people mad last week. It was crazy to watch how, like, they were out here, like, going the fuck off on Caitlin Clark for saying what I really think that, like, was some very real, some very factual things, right? So Caitlin Clark was named Time's, like, Sportswoman of the Year and shit. And she did an interview with Time, and in that interview, she spoke about how she looked up to black women as a young basketball player, and that she believes that, more attention should be paid to the black players in the WNBA, and how the league had been built on the backs of talented black women from its inception. Nigga! Oh my God. You'd have thought she'd have said that, like, yo, man, I want a nigga to slap me across my face with his dick and yada, yada, yada. Like, I really want to just gulp the gravy and all this other shit. You'd have thought she'd have said some real foul shit like that, right? But that ain't what she said. Because the white folks man, the white folks lost their goddamn collective minds, man. So one white woman in particular who really lost her goddamn mind was one Megan Kelly. Now, for those of you who are familiar, Megan Kelly used to be a Fox News host back in the day. And I'll never forget, like, she really became prominent when she was they were hosting a Republican debate back in 2015, and she asked Donald Trump about some of the misogynistic shit that he had said back then, right? And Donald Trump was like, yo, man, she came out asking me all these questions, and I could see the blood coming out of her eyes, the blood coming out of her wherever, and everything else, being very misogynistic about the question that he was, that she was asking him. That's the same Megan Kelly that, she's very much on the Trump train now, right? Because he was coming at her then. But Caitlin Clark said this, and Megan Kelly lost her shit, not only on social media, but on her Megan Kelly podcast. So let me pull this up so you guys can see what the fuck had Megan Kelly's panties all in a bunch. Because, like, it really shouldn't have been, but they were. And so let's see what she's talking about, man. Let's what's happening here.
We need to talk about Caitlin Clark.
Yep.
So Caitlin Clark.
Hold on. Let me hold on. Let me.
We need to talk.
Look, I want y'all to look at the look on her face when she says this shit. Okay? Just look at her face.
Talk about Caitlin Clark.
She's pissed. The look on her face right there. If for those of you who are watching, she is pissed right at this moment. We need to talk about Caitlin Clark. She upset. She is fucking upset, nigga. I mean, upset, nigga. Straight up. She's pissed.
Yep.
So Caitlin Clark of Iowa, but now playing for Indiana in the WNBA, gets honored in time as the athlete of the year. I don't know. I guess they need a lot of covers or something. I mean, whatever. They just want people who are going to sell their shitty magazine. So she gets selected as athlete of the year. And what does Caitlin Clark do? Like, this woman who's a superstar. She's the Michael Jordan of the WNBA. And she's become a phenom.
Wait, she is? That's news to fucking me. Like Asia Wilson ain't still in the league. Like, for real, like, she's the MVP. She's the Michael Jordan. She's a fucking rookie. She had a good year. Okay. Chill out, Spann.
In part because the players of the WNBA can't fucking stand her. Why? Mm-hmm. Because she's white. It's abject.
The players in the WNBA can't stand her because she's white. Here's the rub. There are other white WNBA players who are also good and who are also great. But that wouldn't go with the narrative that Megan Kelly is trying to put forth right now. So
that's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
But she wants us to believe that the vast majority of the WNBA hates Caitlin Clark. They don't.
Absolute racism. It's total racism. And one of the things that's been admirable about Caitlin is she just continues to play her game and put points on the board. And she does very well, and she wins games, and she puts butts in the seats, and she sells tickets, and she gets people tuning in on television. And all really we want to hear from anybody about this is thank you. Thank you to Caitlin Clark for making our league relevant and so on. But instead, she's been bullied repeatedly by the players in this league. She's been assaulted physically. She's been scratched in the eye. And I mean, all of this is on camera. We've covered it repeatedly on the show.
Here's the thing, right? The people who watch the WNBA and the people who never watch the WNBA tell on themselves all the time when they talk this way about Caitlin Clark's treatment in the WNBA. Had they been watching the WNBA prior to Caitlin Clark's arrival to the WNBA, they would have already known that the WNBA has a pretty physical league, man. Them girls play. Them girls ain't bullshitting out there. I'm sorry, not them girls. Those women are out there playing. Those women are out there playing professionally. This ain't college ball. And Caitlin Clark is a rookie. Caitlin Clark was not about to be treated with kid gloves because she was allegedly the golden goose that the WNBA needed. She wasn't even the only talented player coming out of the draft. Right? Now, if we're being honest with ourselves, we know that Caitlin Clark really became an avatar for whiteness, or whiteness started to really try to assert their ownership of Caitlin Clark when LSU played Iowa in the Final Four a couple years back when she was going up against Angel Reese in LSU when LSU won the national championship. And when Angel Reese gave her the you can't see me gesture and shit like that, white folks took offense to that. And Angel Reese has been a villain to white folks from then on out, right? Been a villain from then on out. And they used it, they wanted Caitlin Clark to be their white avatar against black dominance in the sport, right? Because let's keep it a buck. As much as there are some very great white players in the WNBA and in the NBA, the vast majority of the players in both leagues are African or are African American or of African descent. Okay, so it's one of their ways of like, hey, one of the best players in the league is a white girl, and we need to make sure that we protect her. And now she's these black girls are attacking her, and these black girls are being extra physical towards her, and all these other things. And then Caitlin Clark comes out and says, hey, some of my favorite fucking players, the women who made me want to be a basketball player, were black. My favorite player growing up was Maya Moore. Some of the women who built this league were women like Cheryl Swoops, women like Tina Thompson, women like Candace Parker, women like Cynthia Cooper. Women like that, women who who laid the foundation and the groundwork for the league to still be here 25 years later, 27 years later. Because these women were out here balling, being great basketball players. I wanted to stand on their shoulders. And the mere fact that she acknowledged that black players, black women players, had been holding that league down for as long as they have been, has Megyn Kelly on this particular show pissed and saying that she had been bullied in order to say that. No, she acknowledged the fucking truth. And I'm gonna let this play some more.
So she gets this honor, and all she has to do is continue staying above it. Thank you. I'm grateful. Love being in the WNBA, and I love my colleagues who I play with, my teammates. That's it. Instead, she decides to go racial. And what she says is she feels the need to acknowledge her white privilege. Basically, she's sorry she's white. She feels really bad about it, though, so you should give her a pass. And then she makes a point of saying the ones we really need to be celebrating are the black women on whose backs this league was built, which I have to tell you is so condescending.
It really is.
It's true that most of these black women have been bullying her and want.
Have they? Or is that the narrative that y'all have been telling everybody, that they've been bullying her? Because think about this for a second. If Caitlin Clark really wanted to lean into the fact that she was being bullied, think about this for a second. She could have been out here saying that. Caitlin Clark could have been out here saying these black girls are jealous of me. These black girls don't want to see me succeed. These black girls are out here trying to hurt me. These black girls are doing X, Y, and Z. She could have been about all of that. And you know what? When it comes to all of these people who are perpetuating this notion, they'd have been supportive of her. As a matter of fact, they would have been like, yo, we got to protect Caitlin at all cost. These black girls are out here bullying our white savior. We can't let this happen. But Caitlin never really embraced any of that shit. She never said anything about any of that stuff. And like to some degree, like it made a lot of like black folks a little suspicious of her too, because they're like, maybe she's buying into that stuff, right? But she never said anything about any of that stuff. But these white folks who were trying to glom on their anti-woke, their reverse racism notions, those folks were really trying to push that notion on her. And here it is, Caitlin Clark is rejecting that shit. And now they out here with their dick in their hands trying to figure out what the fuck. Because everything we were trying to like really, like the notions that we were really trying to put forth and glom on to her, she's not she's not taking on to. So now it really makes us look like we was the racist sons of bitches as everybody said we was. How dare she come out here and say that, like, yo, y'all really should like acknowledge the black women that helped like raise this fucking league that I am a part of right now. How dare she say that? I'm no longer supporting Caitlin Clark because she acknowledged niggers. This is what, like, let's keep it a buck. This is what the fuck Megyn Kelly is saying right now. And you got to remember, man, for those of us who are longer, who have been around long enough to know, like, I remember when Megyn Kelly got a show, I believe it was on NBC or something like that. They gave her a morning show on NBC after she left Fox News. And this is like even after she was on Fox News and she was suggesting that, like, just Santa Claus just is white, despite this fact that like Santa Claus just is not real, right? But Santa Claus just is white, right? But she said that on Fox News. But she got in trouble on NBC. And she got in trouble because she was suggesting that there's nothing wrong with white people dressing up in blackface to become black characters during Halloween. She didn't see anything wrong with blackface. She thought that was okay. She thought that it was perfectly all right. And so there was a firestorm around the shit. She had Roland Martin come on the show to explain to her why the fuck she was wrong as hell. She had another black conservative lady, I'm forgetting the lady's name, but she came on the show and she was trying to tell her why she was wrong as hell about the shit. But ultimately, she ended up leaving NBC. They gave her $50 million to go the fuck away. This is how you end up with Megyn Kelly on Sirius XM right now in this current capacity. They paid this woman millions to go the fuck away. And so it's not a surprise to those of us who are familiar with who Megyn Kelly is to see her taking this sort of stance. Megyn Kelly has been a racist son bitch for a long time. She's been a racist for quite some time. And the fact that she's upset that Caitlin Clark acknowledges that black women were the foundation of the WNBA, while she's being honored as Time's like athlete of the year, because she brought more eyeballs to the league, but a lot of those eyeballs were coming to the league trying to project a level of whiteness and ownership of Caitlin, and they're pissed because Caitlin never even acknowledged it, but now it's open that Caitlin isn't even she's openly rejecting it. This is why Megyn Kelly is so upset.
Her to understand it's their league. Hello, you don't own the league. Blacks don't own the league, just like whites don't own tennis or golf. Nobody owns the league. This is America. Anybody can play if they're good enough. But they want her on the knee. You'll bend the knee and you'll apologize for being white, and you will suck up to the black women who built this league before you, or you will be beaten. You will be assaulted and you will be bullied with no friends. So
you can tell that Megyn has not really watched WNBA basketball. He has no clue how those ladies play. Those ladies play with grit. Those ladies have always been about, like, they've been with the shits. It is not about beating up on Caitlin Clark. How do you think Diana Taurasi has been lasting in the league as great a player as she is right now? Like, how do you think and Diana Taurasi was one of those people who was like, yo, it ain't gonna come easy for her here. Right? Diana Taurasi was like, she's white. One of the first critics is like, hey man, y'all keep crowning this girl. It's not gonna be easy for her coming here. Right? Like the idea that it's just because like she had the temerity, the unmitigated gall to like say, hey, these black ladies have really like, you know, kind of paved the way for me to be able to be in a league and play at this level. And it would be remiss of me to not acknowledge that. You think she was bullied into saying it? Jesus Christ.
Oh, she does it. She finally did it. She bent the knee, self-flagellated over white privilege. And look at the black women in this league. And I have to tell you, if I were a black woman in that league, I think I'd say, screw you. Because don't treat me like I am the ugly stepsister. And
Yeah. But you're not a black woman in that league. And you haven't been looked over in a league that, you know, you have to merit, like overwhelmingly built, right? So we're not going to act as though people didn't suddenly become interested in the WNBA because of the influx of ladies like Caitlin Clark, ladies like Angel Reese coming into the league. And like we talked about this on the show, man, like those two young ladies coming into the league is like the equivalent of Larry Bird and Magic Johnson coming to the league at the same time. Larry Bird being the white hope, Magic Johnson being the black talent, right? And how those two saved the NBA back in the early 80s. Like there's that, we made that correlation. This isn't even the first time it's happened in basketball in America. So, like, again, like Caitlin Clark acknowledges a truth, and white racists lose their fucking minds. And unfortunately, this is what we're left with, right? Like, it's going to be interesting to see, like, you know, what the viewership numbers are going to be next year. Are these white people who are suddenly WNBA fans because of Caitlin Clark going to suddenly turn away from the league because Caitlin Clark had the temerity to say that, hey, listen, I play with some very talented black ladies who help propel this league forward. Are they going to leave? And if they leave, do they not make the point that a lot of people have already been making? Is that the only reason that y'all were here was because y'all thought about this young, like this white girl, and she was going to be the superior player, and she was going to dominate all these black girls in this game? And that's the only reason why you're here? Right? Look at this panel. This white ass panel. I don't see nobody of color on this panel, just white. And they're all upset with Caitlin Clark for saying a motherfucking truth. We're living in an age right now where the truth, it can't even be argued. You're just upset about it because it's the truth. That's where we are right now, man. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. But this isn't the only time we're going to talk about some sports and some politics and how they intermingle. Because I'll be goddamn if Stephen A. Smith didn't come out here and say some fool ass shit again.
I'm supposed to feel sorry for that bitch. I don't.
I don't either. But Stephen A. Smith just recently came out with an interview on Fox News, and apparently Stephen A. He regrets the fact that he voted for Kamala Harris. Yeah. But yeah, man, Stephen A. Smith went on Fox News, did an interview with those folks over there at that network that had to pay $787 million to Dominion Voting Systems for lying about the voting results back in 2020. He went on that network to suggest that he regrets voting and backing Democrats, right? So I'm gonna pull this video up so you guys can watch right along with your man Spann, and we gonna dissect what the fuck it is Stephen A. Smith got going on, because like I said, the last time I talked to y'all, Stephen A. Smith didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. And then he came back and said some more shit. And even Roland Martin, hell, like, yo, this nigga don't know what the fuck he talking about. Did a little half-hour fucking decomposition or whatever the fuck it is he does over there. But yeah, Stephen A on some shit. So let's see what he got to say, man. Check this out.
Welcome back, America. Stephen A. Smith. So could you see yourself seeing what you see now? And obviously Donald Trump can't run for president again, but if he could, under the current circumstances, could you see yourself voting for him?
Quite possibly. I'm not going to sit up there and dismiss that anymore. I think we're beyond that. He would have to prove a lot, Mark. And I'm not talking about policy now. For a second, allow me to say this. What concerned me about Donald Trump and the reason I voted against him and voted for Kamala Harris was because I felt that he would be divisive, that he would create chaos because he demands such a level of loyalty and fealty to him. And that would take priority over governing our nation. That was.
So let me get this straight. When you look at the people that Donald Trump is appointing or nominating to be a part of his cabinet, you don't see that as part of the shit that you have concerns about? When you see someone like a Tulsi Gabbard, who many intelligence experts consider an asset to the Russian government, when you see him nominating her to be the director of national intelligence, that doesn't raise a red flag for you? When you see him nominating someone like a Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as Secretary of Health and Human Services, when this dude is actually advocating for the repeal of the polio vaccine, that doesn't bring you into any level of concern? When you see that the dude that he has elected, he had initially nominated to be his attorney general, news just came out, shit dropped today. The House Ethics Committee came out with the report suggesting that this dude was paying for sex with 17-year-olds. And he nominated that guy to be his attorney general. That doesn't raise a red flag for you? When you see the guy he's nominated to be his Secretary of Defense, who his mama had to come out after people found out that his mama was calling him all sorts of not shit ass niggas because he was out here like beating on, like sexually assaulting women, treating women like shit and everything else. His mama had to come out and try to clean that up and go on news and try to clean that shit up for him. That doesn't raise a red flag for you? When you start talking about he has to show me something other than him, it not being about, allegiance to him, and it has to be allegiance to the nation. Everybody, like every last person that he didn't nominate, it's about allegiance to him. It ain't about their qualifications. It's about allegiance to him. But you want us to believe. You want us to believe that I would support Donald Trump going forward if he does these things. He's not showing you that shit now. So what the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about, nigga?
Was my concern. And so I'm looking for both sides to work across the aisle from one another. Having said that, when you see some of the things that he said, if he follows through on some of the things that he has said, it's not just about eradicating inflation, improving the economy, obviously controlling our borders. These are all things that I care about. Make no mistake about that. And
if you really did care about that, then you wouldn't have regretted your vote. You wouldn't have regretted your vote, especially when it comes to eradicating inflation, because all of the economists, all reputable economists, said that what Donald Trump is planning to do for the economy, especially when it comes towards the tariffs that he's talking about implementing, the tax cuts that he's talking about extending for the top 1%, are going to exacerbate inflation. But we know that you are part of that now top 1% now, Stephen A. So that's no longer an issue for you. The rest of us have to deal with that. And this goes back to that whole thing I was telling you guys a while ago before. Some of these folks see themselves above and apart from the rest of us. This is why even when it comes to the minorities who somehow find themselves aligned with the Donald Trump. Yeah, the vast majority of the people that, from the communities that they come from are going to suffer. but they see themselves above and apart from that. It's not going to affect them whatsoever.
And I certainly would support him in that regard. But it can't be just about fealty to him and loyalty to him. It has to be about getting the job done on behalf of what's in the best interest of the American people, as opposed to yourself, and not engaging in a kind of juvenile tendencies, tweeting all the time and going after people who are really much irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. You do things like that and you show that you're the adult in the room. Yeah, I don't think anybody could
This motherfucker is basically asking Donald Trump to change the person that he's been. And Donald Trump is damn near 80 years old, y'all. Donald Trump is damn near 80. I think he's like 78, 79 years old. The man ain't changing who he is, man. He has never shown you to be any of the shit that you're talking about he can be, that you want him to be. He's never shown you that. So for you to go on Fox News and talk this way and act as though he's going to somehow change up what he's always been doing is, and here's the other part. Why would he change up when he's won? Why the fuck would I change? It got me where I'm at. I got these motherfuckers that elect me to be president of the United States, despite the fact that I have been legally liable for sexual assault. I've got 34 felony counts that I am guilty of. I had indictments on me when it came to like stealing classified documents. I had indictments on me when it came towards trying to, overturn the election. And I still won. Why the fuck would I change anything I'm doing? And this goofy motherfucker is sitting up here on Fox News talking as though this shit is about to be different. Nigga, are you dumb? Are you fucking dumb? This has got to be the stupidest. This got to be the stupidest shit I've ever heard.
Supposed to feel sorry for that bitch. I don't.
This is dumb, bro. This is dumb.
Dismiss Donald Trump at this particular moment in time, not just because of him, but because of what we've seen the Democrats do. We're not falling for it any longer. The American people aren't falling for it any longer. I voted Democrat, and I got to tell you something right now. I don't like the fact that I did. I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't want to hear about, we're about law. We're about a law. Nobody's above the law. Nobody's above the law. But then you go out and you pardon your son and you try to blame everybody else for it. I don't want.
This is where the gaslighting comes in, where a motherfucker isn't talking about shit in an honest way. The reason why I believe Joe Biden pardoned his son is because he knows that Donald Trump and the Justice Department that Donald Trump is trying to put into place would do nothing but persecute his son for no other reason than the fact that he was Joe Biden's son. That's it. That's all. The other part about that is that Joe Biden's son is a private motherfucking citizen. Private citizen. Doesn't have any government ties outside of the fact that his father was the president. But you want to like do this false equivalence of, hey, he pardoned his son, and so that means all the shit that they got to go against Donald Trump somehow is different, or is somehow makes it like they being hypocritical. It's like, hold on, brother, did you not see that motherfucking insurrection at the Capitol on January 6th? Did you not hear that motherfucking phone call to Georgia trying to get 11,780 votes to overturn an election in 2020? Did you not see all those fucking classified documents in that man's bathroom in Mar-a-Lago? The fuck are you talking about, nigga? So to act as if these two things are the same is bullshit. And fuck you for... The reason why I get upset about this nigga and people like him is because, hey man, despite the fact that so many people act as if they do not like Stephen A., they hate Stephen A., they don't like the influence that he has, we got to recognize the facts of the matter. The man does have influence, even if he doesn't know what the fuck it is he's talking about. And if he does know what he's talking about, the fact that he would be disingenuous in a platform like going on Fox News to say these sorts of things is dangerous, especially considering the time that we're in right now, where we're watching the media capitulate to Donald Trump. We're watching ABC News settle with Donald Trump for $15 million because a television host said that Donald Trump was liable for rape. And Donald Trump sued because he said rape. And it was like sexual assault, but the judge in the case said that it was like, it was equivalent to rape and everything else, the semantics and everything. But ABC News settled that for $15 million. And what does Donald Trump then do? Donald Trump then goes forward and says, well, hey, there was a pollster at the Des Moines Register who said that Kamala Harris was leading me by 3 points in a poll in the Des Moines Register in Iowa. Donald Trump ends up winning Iowa by about 15 points. And so now he's suing the woman who conducted that poll and the Des Moines Register to say that they were involved in election interference. Now, many people would look at that and say, well, Donald Trump is going about suing media entities and all these other things for saying shit about him. And many of those cases will probably never reach court. But you got to understand something. This is a tactic that Donald Trump has been using for a long time. For as much as Republicans have been out here talking about lawfare and everything else, Donald Trump has been about lawfare for a long fucking time. Ask all of the people who Donald Trump stiffed when it came towards like building his casinos and shit. Ask all the people that Donald Trump stiffed when it came towards building his Trump Tower. Ask all the people that got stiffed when it came towards building all of the other buildings that they came to build for Donald Trump, where they had to sue this motherfucker in order to get some semblance of compensation for the work that they did. Donald Trump doesn't necessarily have to have these cases go to court. He just has to tie you up in litigation. So now you have to fight these cases in court, and now you have to pay for lawyers, and now you have to pay legal fees, and now you have to pay filing fees and all this other shit. And if you don't have the financial resources in order to do it, what are you inclined to do? You're inclined to settle, despite the fact that everything you might have said about this motherfucker was completely true. You're going to settle because you can't afford the fight. And many media companies, we've seen the Young Turks turn into, some right-wing grifting ass motherfuckers lately. We've seen Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski go take their asses down to Mar-a-Lago and bend the knee down to Donald Trump. So, like, these sorts of things isn't necessarily, it's not surprising to anybody paying attention. But when it comes to this motherfucker, to get out here acting as though there's a false equivalency between the Republicans and the Democrats, as if the Democrats are just out here like just coming up with shit. Like Donald Trump wasn't out here doing shit right in front of fucking everybody. And then to try to equate that with some bullshit that Republicans did actually come up with. And the reason why we know they came up with it, is because the dude, matter of fact, hold on a second. Let me do this right fucking now. Okay, we get this from the BBC, and I'm gonna pull this up on on the screen so you guys can read right along with me, because I need y'all to see this. For those of you who are watching, but for those of you who are listening, you guys will hear it. But I need you guys to see this. But this is what the Republicans based their entire fucking investigation on. This is from the BBC. The FBI informant who lied about Biden bribes pleads guilty. He pled fucking guilty. The entire fucking case that Republicans call themselves pinning on the Hunter Biden and his ties to Joe Biden and everything else. The entire fucking case was built upon an informant who made it all up. and who has now pled guilty to making it all up. A former informant has pled guilty to lying to the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation about a fake bribery scheme involving President Joe Biden and his son Hunter. Alexander Smirnov, 44, has also admitted to tax evasion after not reporting more than $2 million in income. His claims became the basis of an impeachment investigation in Congress, which centered around the false claims that the Bidens made millions in bribes from Burisma, a Ukrainian energy company. But Smirnov admitted he made the story up and pleaded guilty in Los Angeles on Monday as part of an agreement with prosecutors. Smirnov, a dual U.S.-Israeli citizen, had been an FBI informant for more than a decade when he made the allegations about the Bidens in June of 2020, saying that Joe and Hunter Biden each received $5 million from the energy company. Prosecutors said that Smirnov was motivated by bias against President Biden and that he spun his routine and an unextraordinary business contacts with Burisma into tales about bribery that were fabrications. The FBI investigated his statements, but within months recommended that the case be closed without any legal action taken against the Bidens. But the allegations refused to die and became the basis for a Republican-led drive to investigate President Biden, including an effort to make Smirnov's initial statement public. Prosecutors say that when he was re-interviewed by FBI agents in September of 2023, Smirnov doubled down on his claims. Smirnov was arrested in Nevada as he returned to the U.S. from an overseas trip in February 2024. According to the court documents, he has ties with Russian intelligence and uses more than $2 million in unreported income to buy a Las Vegas condominium, a lease on a Bentley car, and hundreds of thousands of dollars of clothes, jewelry, and accessories. And you want us to act as though these two things are the same. Stephen A. Smith calls himself a journalist. He can't wait to tell us how many years he worked for the Philadelphia Inquirer and how many NBA locker rooms he's been in and all these other things, right? But he can't be bothered with the facts when it comes to this sort of shit. When you get on like news outlets and say this sort of shit, you can't be bothered to be truthful and factual when it comes to this. Now you are what did he say? He regrets his vote for Kamala Harris. He regrets his vote for Kamala Harris. He regrets the fact that he's been supporting Democrats suddenly. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense at all. But he got some more to say.
He's above the law. But then you go out and you pardon your son and you try to blame everybody else for it. I don't want to hear about defund the police. I don't want to hear about, there should be open borders. I don't want to hear this stuff. And I don't think
when has defund the police ever been the Democratic national position? When? Have there been some who advocated for that? Yes. But even that involves some nuance. Excuse me. Even that involves some nuance. It wasn't like, this is to take all the money from the police. Oftentimes it was like, hey, let's reallocate some of these funds towards more socially equitable situations where instead of sending the police to a mental health situation, we send some social workers to that mental health situation so that we don't have instances where police are drawing their guns on someone who's having a mental emergency, a mental health emergency, and killing someone who's having a mental health emergency, as opposed to sending somebody who actually understands what the fuck is going on and helping that person. You don't want to hear that, though. I don't want to hear open border. When has the Democratic Party ever said we want the borders to be wide the fuck open? When have you ever heard that, No, not never. You never heard that as part of the Democratic national motherfucking position. Never heard it. Never heard it, nigga.
So the American people want to hear that. We're thinking about the state of affairs that's in. We're not about America only, but being about America and prioritizing what's going on in this nation with the desolate and the disenfranchised and everybody else in between, and looking out for the best interest of what it is for America. That is not a crime. for an American politician or a commander-in-chief or a senator or a congressional figure to have that mentality. I want them to have that mentality.
It's not a crime, but it is a crime. A social crime. When you lie about the conditions that spawn the positions that you're taking. Right? And I say that because we have found ourselves advocating for we find ourselves talking about a whole lot of extremes, man. Like even when it comes to like the whole trans thing, right? I don't like talking about that particular subject all the time when it does come up here on the show. I don't particularly like talking about it, but I feel compelled to talk about it because it's like, yo, I want us to think about this shit for a second. Hold on, let's stop. Let's stop and think for a second. When have you ever been confronted with a trans person in the bathroom with you? When have you ever been confronted with that? When have you ever been confronted with a trans person competing in the sport against you? When? When have you ever been confronted with sexual assault from someone who presented themselves as trans? It's a very minuscule part of our population. And yet, Republicans successfully made millions of people think and are still doing it. Shout out to Nancy Mace. Are still doing it. Made people think that trans people were taking over the nation. And they ran on that. They ran on that fear, and they ran on that lack of knowledge, and they ran on that ignorance of people who don't want to fucking know. Oftentimes, they will gin up a fear of a small group of folk and extrapolate that into this large thing to make you think the end of the world is coming. And I got to protect myself from this end of the world. And that's not what the fuck is happening. You are up in arms about some shit that you have never confronted in your fucking life. Stephen A. Smith is susceptible to it too. He's a media man. He's susceptible to it too. So if Stephen A. Smith is susceptible to it, guess how many motherfuckers you are walking around with on a daily basis who are also susceptible to it? Think about that. I mean, like, I'm just keeping it a buck. Like, really think about this. Sit with that. If this motherfucker who's in media has been in media for more than 20 fucking years, who knows how narratives are being constructed in media, still finds himself saying some of the silliest shit that he's saying right now, what do some of us out in the public, what chance do we stand? Especially some of us who aren't necessarily as media savvy, who don't really watch how these narratives start building themselves up, who aren't necessarily social media savvy, who sees how the algorithm feeds that shit to you more and more. Because you're the product, right? When it comes to social media, it's free, right? Yeah, it's free because you're the product. They keep selling, they will keep showing you all the shit. You keep scrolling. They keep showing you all the shit. And the longer you watch, the longer they got you. And then in the middle, while you scrolling, they'll show you an ad of some shit you had mentioned about. You had me and May mentioned about. Hey, shit. them earrings, girl, I really want them earrings. And you look up, boom, them earrings is right there in your goddamn feed. Ooh, shit, how the fuck? I might as well go ahead and get them now. And they keep you on that longer and longer and longer. Meanwhile, you're being inundated with messages to make you think a certain way, but also to kind of, enhance how you already thought about a certain situation. So, like, as I watch someone like a Stephen A. Smith be red pill, Stephen A. Smith is being red pill right in front of us. I want y'all to be aware of that. Stephen A. Smith, the more he becomes someone who is all over he's like the face of fucking ESPN now. They're talking about how much more money Stephen A. Smith is standing to make, when it comes to his next contract. Like last I heard, probably like maybe $40 million a year or some shit like that. Stephen A. Smith, is branching off into, doing the podcast where he's talking about more things other than sports. And, to be truthfully honest with you guys, the more he starts talking about things other than sports, the less I like this nigga, because I'm like, yo, this nigga does not know what the fuck he's talking about. I will listen to him when it comes to basketball and his coverage of the NBA. I would listen to him when it comes to football, his coverage of the NFL. I am not listening to this nigga when it comes to his coverage of politics, because it's clear this nigga don't know what the fuck he's talking about. He can't even do the bare minimum of not just taking a talking point and running with it and presenting this shit as if it's just the facts. He can't do it. Stephen A. Smith is being red pilled right in fucking front of us. I need y'all to understand that going forward. If you haven't heard it from anybody yet, you heard it from your man Spann. Stephen A. Smith is being red pilled right fucking in front of us, to the point where he's regretting his vote for Kamala Harris because Joe Biden decided to pardon his son. What the fuck does Kamala Harris have to do with that? What does Kamala Harris have to do with Joe Biden pardoning his son? So now it's Kamala Harris's fault that Joe Biden did that? You're regretting your vote for Kamala Harris? Because Joe Biden saw the writing on the wall that these motherfuckers are coming after my son? Because he's my son? Just...
I think about things along those lines, and I'm no longer interested in, nor do I believe any of us should be interested in listening to a bunch of fear-mongering to tell us who we shouldn't vote for. Why don't you come up with a plan that tells us why we should vote for you? That's what I'm interested in. And if Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Byron Donald, Marco Rubio, or the host of other Republican candidates coming down the pike, that's the kind of message that they're going to put forth, I'm down for it. I'm open-minded enough to make sure that I entertain that from a policy perspective. That's what I want for the American people. That's what I want for this nation.
Yeah, fuck you, nigga. Fuck you. Because there was a plan that had more to do than like just not talking about voting against Donald Trump, but voting for Kamala Harris. And had you did your research, had you actually been paying attention, you wouldn't be on a fucking national news network saying that silly shit. You wouldn't. And I think the false equivalency of trying to use Joe Biden's pardon of his son and juxtapose that with the plethora of different cases that Donald Trump had up against him, the convictions that he had already undertook before the election, and the convictions that he's been able to avoid because too many of us in the American populace are too fucking stupid to understand that man doesn't mean any of us any motherfucking good, including the white working class who voted for this bitch overwhelmingly. He's going to fuck y'all too. But I know whiteness. Whiteness kind of held the day for a lot of folk, whether they would like to admit it or not. Like I said, I am a blue collar worker myself. I work with a lot of white working class people who make pretty good money. It ain't about the cost of eggs. What about the cost of eggs? What about the cost of groceries or anything like that? Especially when you're driving an $80,000 pickup truck and you're getting $400,000 houses built from the ground up. It's not that. So, yeah, man. Stephen A. Smith. Out here. Shit. I mean, who had Stephen A. Smith becoming the coonest coon on a bingo card coming up in 2025, man? I don't know. But that's what happened, man. But, yo, man, it is time for me to get on up out of here. I done ran my mouth enough. But, of course, before we get on up out of here, I got to remind you guys how to get in touch with your man Spann over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and let your voice be heard. Go ahead and hit up that hotline at area code 313-288-0485. There's area code 313-288-0485. Leave those voicemail messages. Of course, those messages will get played here and responded to here live on the show. You can also email me here at feedback@thespanreport.com. That's feedback@thespanreport.com. Go ahead and leave those emails. And, of course, those emails will get right here, reply to here live as well. Follow me on Threads and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So go ahead and follow me there. Chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. Also, follow me on Blue Sky. I am on Blue Sky. That's Mr. Spann, MRSPANN .bsky.social. Yeah, it's MRSPANN.bsky.social over there at Blue Sky. So follow me there, chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week over there. Also, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and on Spotify. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get right here live on the show. We really appreciate everybody who does that. Doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here, the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and the Spann Report Podcast Network in its entirety. Also, leave us a comment. Leave us a thumbs up. Subscribe to us over on YouTube, man. Leave us a thumbs up. Subscribe. Leave us a comment. We appreciate everybody who does that. That also doesn't cost you nothing, and it helps us. Not only helps us grow on YouTube, but also it gets you heard over here at on the show. So we really appreciate everybody who does that. Also, hit up our store at tpublic.com / the Spann Report Podcast Network. And get yourself some merch, man. Get yourself a fly t-shirt, man. Get yourself a hoodie. Get yourself a coffee mug. Get yourself a mouse pad. We got some stuff over there. We got hats now, man. So we really appreciate everybody who goes there. And that does cost you a little bit of money. And but that also helps us continue to do what it is we do here at the Spann Report Podcast Network and this show in particular. I am about to get on up out of here. I do hope, because this is going to be the last show I do before Christmas, right? I will probably talk to you guys again before the new year comes around. So we're gonna probably do a nice little New Year show or whatever. But I will talk to you guys again soon. But until the next time I talk to you guys, fam, peace.